10 mysterious British villages with stories you've never heard. Britain is dotted with villages that look peaceful at first glance. Charming cottages, winding lanes, sheep grazing on faraway hills. But tucked behind their postcard views are stories that locals whisper about only when the nights draw in. From ancient stone circles where houses sit inside prehistoric rings, to cliffside communities shaped by centuries of strange happenings. These places hold secrets the guidebooks barely touch. If you love hidden gems, forgotten folklore, eerie traditions, and mysterious British villages you've never heard of, then this journey will take you deep into the heart of rural Britain, where history feels alive. 10. Pluckley, Kent. Pluckley looks like the sort of village where life drifts gently along. Quiet lanes, cosy pubs, and centuries-old cottages framed by open countryside. But beneath its calm surface lies one of Britain's longest-running collections of eerie local tales. Writers in the 20th century highlighted the village because so many fragments of folklore had built up over generations. Old inns, farmland, and crossroads are tied to stories shared quietly among locals, each passed down like a relic from another era. Much of Pluckley's reputation comes from how tightly its history, landscape, and legends are woven together. The village grew around farms, coaching routes, and early industries, and people living in old timber houses often carried stories from their grandparents and great-grandparents. Whether you believe in village folklore or simply enjoy rural mysteries, Pluckley remains one of the most intriguing villages in Kent. 9. Prestbury, Gloucestershire. Prestbury sits on the edge of Cheltenham, quiet and elegant with Cotswold stone cottages and tidy green spaces. Visitors often notice how peaceful it feels. Yet this village has some of the most enduring folklore in Gloucestershire. Local stories often mention old lanes where riders once travelled, historic houses where people heard unexplained sounds, and traditions rooted in centuries of village life. Its location adds to the atmosphere. Surrounded by ancient footpaths and hedgerows, the village has seen Roman routes, medieval horsemen, and early traders pass through. As with many Cotswolds villages, its history is layered. Manors, coaching inns, and farmhouses all carry their own stories. These long-standing traditions make Prestbury popular in travel content, especially videos about mysterious villages in Britain, Cotswolds' hidden gems, and British places with strange stories. 8. Dunster, Somerset. Dunster is one of Britain's most perfectly preserved medieval villages. With its iconic yarn market, its sweeping hilltop castle, and its winding lanes, it feels like stepping straight into the past. While Dunster is more widely visited than some others on this list, few travellers hear about its quieter tales. Stories of odd lights in the woods, unexplained footsteps in ancient rooms, and age-old legends tied to the castle's long history. Because Dunster has been continuously inhabited for more than 1,000 years, layers of folklore have developed naturally. Any village that saw medieval soldiers, merchants, nobles, farmers, early railway workers and Victorian travellers will inevitably gather stories across time. Dunster's combination of deep history and dramatic scenery. 7. Avebury, Wiltshire. Avebury is unlike any other village in Britain because it sits inside one of the world's largest ancient stone circles. People live, walk and drive through a place where stones older than the pyramids stand silently in the fields that alone gives Avebury an atmosphere you'll never forget. The stone circle is part of a much larger prehistoric landscape that includes burial mounds, avenues, and ritual sites stretching across Wiltshire. For centuries, villagers have passed on stories connected to the stones. Archaeologists offer one explanation, while folklore offers another, and the coexistence of both gives Avebury a quiet sense of mystery. Because of its unique layout, Avebury is one of the most searched terms on Google. You'll find it in countless YouTube videos exploring the mystical side of the British countryside. 6. Eyam, Derbyshire. Eyam's story is unlike anything else in Britain. In 1665, when the plague reached the village, Eyam chose to cut itself off from the outside world to stop the disease from spreading. It was an act of bravery that became part of national history. Today, the village feels peaceful and reflective, but over the centuries, some residents reported strange experiences tied to that extraordinary time. The village itself is beautiful. Stone cottages, rolling hills and quiet lanes typical of the Derbyshire Dales. But its past gives Eyam an unmistakable atmosphere. Visitors often talk about how still the village feels, especially around the boundary stone and the old cottages from the 1600s. It's one of the most Googled villages for people interested in historical British villages, mysterious Derbyshire places, and villages with unusual stories. 5. Blanchland, Northumberland. Blanchland feels as if it was carved from the pages of a medieval storybook. That's because the entire village was built using stones from a 12th century abbey walk its streets, and you're surrounded by arches, thick walls and ancient stonework that have stood for more than 800 years. With that kind of heritage, it's no surprise the village carries whispers of strange sounds, faint echoes, and unexplained noises locals have mentioned over the years. Set in a remote, peaceful valley, its isolation only adds to its atmosphere. Mist rolls in from the moors, the river flows quietly through the stone bridge, and the old buildings feel untouched by time. 4. Clovelly, Devon. Everything about Clovelly feels dreamlike. The entire village clings to a steep cliff with one cobbled street plunging down to the harbour. No cars are allowed, supplies are moved by handcarts, and because the village has been privately owned for centuries, its layout and old houses remain almost unchanged. Clovelly's maritime history has produced generations of legends, strange happenings at sea, old fishing stories, tales of shipwrecks, and mysterious coastal events have become part of its identity. The combination of dramatic scenery and centuries of seafaring life means this tiny village has more folklore than many towns 10 times its size. 3. Robin Hood's Bay, North Yorkshire. Robin Hood's Bay looks like a painting. Narrow lanes, rooftops layered like stepping stones, and the sea stretching endlessly below. But the beauty hides something far more intriguing. This was once one of the busiest smuggling villages on the east coast, with stories of hidden tunnels, secret routes, and narrow alleys where barrels and crates were passed under moonlight. Some tales speak of odd sounds in old houses or unexplained happenings along the cliff tops. Whether rooted in history or folklore, they add a layer of intrigue to a village already full of character. People researching smuggling villages in Britain, mysterious North Yorkshire villages, and hidden seaside villages in the UK often end up discovering Robin Hood's Bay. 2. Llangernyw, Conwy County, Wales. Llangernyw is a quiet Welsh village surrounded by hills, farmland and winding country roads. But its most mysterious feature is the Llangernyw yew, a tree estimated to be between 4,000 and 5,000 years old. It has been standing since the Bronze Age, watching over the village long before recorded history. Over the centuries, Welsh folklore connected the ancient yew with several local legends, making it a place where the past feels almost alive. Walk through the village and you feel the weight of its age. The stone church, the rolling countryside, and the presence of that ancient tree create an atmosphere unlike anywhere else in Wales. 1. Boscastle, Cornwall. Boscastle stands at the edge of one of Cornwall's most dramatic coastlines, sheer cliffs, twisting paths, and a harbour that has seen centuries of seafaring life. What makes Boscastle especially fascinating is how many old stories and maritime legends belong to this one tiny place. For generations, villagers passed down tales about strange weather events, unexplained coastal lights, and age-old folklore tied to the rugged landscape. Its location alone feels mystical. The valley funnels storms with incredible force. The sea crashes against the rocks in unpredictable ways, and the cliffs rise like dark guardians above the harbour. These natural features shaped the stories locals shared over the centuries, giving Boscastle an atmosphere that feels ancient and layered with meaning. Britain's quietest corners often hold the biggest surprises. These mysterious villages aren't just places on a map. They're living stories shaped by landscapes, legends, and centuries of memory. Whether you explore them through travel, history, or simple curiosity, each offers a glimpse into the deeper, more magical side of rural Britain. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notification bell.